The book of 2nd Ezra chapter 15. Then these shall be trouble bled, and keep silence through their power, and shall flee. And from the land of the Assyrians shall the enemy besiege them, and consume some of them, and in their hosts shall be fear and dread and strife among their kings. All praises to Yahweh, by Hashem Hawashah, Waharam Kakadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles, the great millstone, Shalom to the hopeful elect that seeking to be the elect of the nation of Israel. The scattered abroad amongst the heathen, amongst the heathen, some look like the heathen, begin with the 144,000 preachers, teachers, and prophets, Shalom. And America is trying to back down, all right, with these peace deals, and they're giving Iran so much because America's been punished. Not only the troops over there that's being knocked off and being punished because they losing the war, but also it's affecting America, man. It's affecting the economy. It's affecting the gas prices. All right? And Trump has no choice but to make a deal. But who's in the way? The Israelis. Netanyahu already said that, hey, that's Trump's decision. Hey, Netanyahu said he ain't got nothing to do with that agreement. He said that's Trump's decision. Netanyahu said that he's not going to pull his troops out of Lebanon. But guess what? Iran wants the Israeli troops out of Lebanon. All right? These Israelis are not going to allow America to make a deal. All right? It's not going to happen. So the Israelis are going to throw a wrench in this so-called deal. It's not going to last. All right? It's not going to last. Okay? Verse 34, behold, clouds from the east and from the north unto the south, and they are very terrible to look upon, full of wrath and storm. The war going to start back, and it's going to be even heavier. All right? Now, here I found this out by Lisa Cabrera. Well, we're going to play this on Redacted, and we're going to close out with that. But you see, I found out Lisa Cabrera, and I looked it up.
Donald Trump came up with
the U.S., this is Lisa Cabrera, a YouTube handle, if you want to subscribe. The U.S. just refused to show Israel the Iran deal. Are there cracks in the alliance? Yeah. But it don't matter how many cracks are between the U.S. and the Israelis and America are brothers. The Israelis has America by the balls. The Israelis are going to get themselves destroyed along with America. All right, as we always get. Jeremiah 49, it's also Jeremiah 50. One says Edom, one says Babylon. To let you know that it's talking about America. Let's get Jeremiah 50. And 45, the Water Yahweh Shema Shah. Therefore, hear ye the counsel of the Lord Yahweh Shema Shah that he has taken against Babylon, America, and his purposes that he has proposed against the land of the Chaldeans. America, the Chaldeans would be the elites. The land is America. They rule from America. They use America to establish things, to get things going. Surely the least of the flock, the Israelis shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. You see? So they're still going to be on the same team, and the Israelis is going to cause themselves as well as America to be destroyed in World War III. At the noise of the taking of Babylon, the earth is moved, and the cry is heard among the nations. So this means that the world is not going to be destroyed in World War III, just Israel and America. Now, I always like to make this point by way of the Holy Spirit, how when you get Jeremiah 49 and 20, it's letting you know which nation is ruling in Babylon. As we always bring out the information, things of that nature, that these Edomites so-called are the so-called white people, man, beginning with the elites. Jeremiah 49:20, therefore hear the counsel of the Lord Yahweh Shema that he has taken against Edom, you Edomites who's ruling from Babylon, America, and his purposes that he has proposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out, surely he shall make the habitation desolate with them. You see, the earth is moved at the noise of their fall, at the cry, the noise thereof was heard in the Red Sea. You see? So that's why you see so-called white people ruling, so-called white people in the White House, so-called white people in positions of authority. Okay? Yahweh Shema is letting us know who is who. So you see the outcome. All right, you see the outcome. All right, which is prophecy. Now, again, Lisa brother, the U.S. just refused to show Israel the Iran deal or their cracks in the alliances. Yeah. Now, I looked this up. What did I type in? Well, I typed that in. I want this that article. Get on my other phone. U.S. refused to share Iran deal text with Israel. AI overview. The United States reportedly rejected a formal request from Israel to review the text of a memorandum of understanding with Iran. Right? Because why? The Israelis are always screwing it up for America. So Trump was like, nope, we ain't going to show it to him. The agreement, and we're going to play in redacted how why Trump made the deal and why they backed down. Now, this doesn't mean that they're going to pull the troops back, because they're not. Why? Because prophecy, they over there, they spent too much money, and they are in position to go to war and to die over there, man. All right, you get Joel, the third chapter, the second chapter, I'm sorry. Second and third chapter, actually. All right? That's why the people over here in Babylon despise the imposters, man. All right? That's why the Edomites, MAGA, no one likes the small hats, man. The black trench coat wearing gang. The agreement, expected to be signed in Switzerland, aims to establish a cessation of hostilities and address Tehran's nuclear program. And me personally, I don't think it's going to be signed Friday. I think something will happen. That's just me personally. I'm not saying it's not or it is. I just don't believe it's going to be signed. And if it is signed, the Israelis going to still, find a way to break the ceasefire, man. See, what America agrees to, that includes Israel. But Israel ain't going for it. You see? I saw another article yesterday. Iran said, they'll fight, the Israelis said they'll fight Iran alone without the help of the U.S. Man, no, you're not. Well, I'm not going to say you're not, but you know you're going to lose that battle. America barely can deal with them. Anyway, where is it? I want the same as our article. This is by, Middle East. Yep, here it is. Why the hell much more shot? Middle East Eye. It says U.S. refused to share Iran deal with Israel. Report. Trump says Israel would be blown off the earth. Yep, he said it. I heard it. I saw the video yesterday. Trump says, quote, Israel, Trump says Israel, quote, would be blown off the earth, end quote, if it weren't for the U.S. He moves to silence any criticism of agreement. All right? So I just wanted to make that point, U.S., Trump admin rejects Israel's request to see Iran deal text, you see? Now, let's play this video, because we just read what's going to happen. All right? All right? America is preventing the Israelis to see the deal. All right?
This is the United States civil rights trail.
causing
Because what happened here
at least the fuck the Israelis are going.
The ability to get shipments spread so far so quickly, and the volume.
They can throw a wrench in the
Israeli
plans,
partner.
and it's going right back to war as we read a second after. All right. So there ain't no peace in no Middle East so-called, man. This redacted. This whole thing will collapse in 96 hours. That's their time, which I agree with them because I ain't shit. I just don't believe, me personally, I don't think they're going to get nothing signed Friday, man. I think the Israelis going to be the ones, as always, going to be the ones that throw a wrench in the plan, man. All right? Which is good. We're going to play this out and just listen to what my man Brandon says, man. All right? It says this whole thing will collapse in 96 hours, says Iran war expert as Israel bombs Lebanon. You see? See, they still bombing Lebanon. You see? I'm going to play the first about 11 minutes. I'll put the rest in the description box if you want to see it.
Well, we are learning more now about this peace deal between the United States and Iran, but of course there's still a lot we don't know. How much will the United States actually pay in reparations? We think we have a framework. We'll talk about that in a second. What does this mean for shipping through the Strait of Hormuz, Iran's nuclear program? We also don't know the full extent of Israel's involvement in this agreed peace. Will they try to be a thorn in the side? We're not sure. Reporting today saying, I can now confirm that Israel formally requested access to the Iran MOU, the peace agreement, and was denied. A remarkable and highly unusual development between close allies on an issue of such critical national security importance. And remember in February, former Israeli intelligence officer Ari Ben-Menashe said Benjamin Netanyahu would release the full extent of what Epstein files they have access to in an effort to sabotage the peace deal if the United States and Iran put something together. Listen.
You heard that? That sounds like blackmail. That's what Edomites do, not only to everybody else, but each other. The Israelis want their way, man, and they're going to get it, because they both going to get destroyed.
If there's a real deal between the Americans and the Iranians, and it's going towards that, Netanyahu will try to sabotage it. One of the ways he'd sabotage it is by putting out Epstein material against U.S. government officials, including Trump.
Okay.
And he put it down.
So, and other U.S. officials, by the way. Just a few minutes ago, we got sort of an outline from Saudi Arabia's Al Arabiya claiming they have a few points of the U.S.-Iran memorandum. I'll just mention a few of them here. Immediate permanent end of fighting on all fronts, including in Lebanon. U.S. immediately lifts the naval blockade. No further interference. U.S. withdraws all forces from the region within a month of a final deal. So that would be incredible. U.S. would move all forces out of the region within a month of the final deal. Iran lifts the Hormuz blockade within a month, which is kind of hilarious considering that the United States says we are the ones with the blockade. Anyway, we're going to dive into all of this now with Brandon Weichert. Brandon Weichert, of course, is the author of the Weichert Brief on Substack, and he just published a brand new report on his Substack. And Brandon, great to see you. Welcome back to the show, as always.
Thank you, as always, for having me. It's good to be here.
So maybe you can walk through your initial assessment of what seems to be a peace framework and whether or not Israel will be involved in this. Just kind of going over these details from Al Arabiya. We don't have official confirmation if this is correct yet, but just at a high level, what do you make of this?
Well, I think I'm going to enjoy the next 96 hours before everything falls apart, because I'm very skeptical that any of this is going to happen. There's aspects that have been released. It's supposedly that's in the deal. I was going through what the Iranians are saying about an hour ago, and now you have the Al Arabiya report. There's some mismatching here, which is worrisome because it sounds like there are points in which the Americans and the Iranians are not on the same page, notably over issues related to Israel. I think that this is a framework for a temporary ceasefire for sure, but I'm very dubious, and I hope I'm wrong, but I'm very dubious that this is going to lead to some kind of wider peace. I think any way you look at it, the strategic implication is clear. The strategic implication is that the United States, what you're looking at in this document, whether it's the Iranian version or the American version that Al Arabiya supposedly has gotten a hold of, what you're looking at is a conditional surrender document from the United States. And one of the reasons that the Trump administration, I think, has refused to share the text of the agreement or the proposal with their Israeli partners is because they're fully well aware the Israelis will leak it to friendly elements in the American media and to Congress, who will then create a firestorm that will likely prevent the president from finalizing this temporary ceasefire, which benefits only Mr. Netanyahu.
If anyone in this room found out what I was, I wouldn't make it out alive.
Quinn Talon, Squad 3. Is this a joke?
Fire, which benefits only Mr. Netanyahu.
Well, I guess we know that President Trump, if the deal materializes, would try to spin it as a win, pretend that we didn't start something that we then had to surrender to get out of. And so if we take a look at this tweet he put yesterday, Iran has agreed never to have a nuclear weapon, and also the idea that we're paying $300 million is fake, put out by the Democrats. But that does seem to be a part of the condition, is that Iran is saying you must unfreeze our money, and we are looking for some type of reparations.
I want to say something real quick. It's right. It's not $100 million. It's actually $300 billion with a B. Dollars.
Good eye. Good eye.
Right.
Also, JD Vance basically confirmed it yesterday, right?
Yes. And so I guess we're trying to drive around the BS and figure out what would actually be on the table. And also, I want to see it with eyes wide open, the spin.
Right. Well, the spin is very clear. And the ones doing the spinning, unfortunately, it's pretty much the Americans. The Iranians have been very clear about what they expect. They put it in writing. The Americans have pretty much agreed to it. Remember, one of the reasons the last round of bombardment occurred was because Trump was trying to squeeze Iran to accept his conditions for harsher, regulation or access to these proposed, purported Iranian nuclear weapons arsenal, or their nuclear dust, as he says. And he was also trying to get them to reopen the Strait of Hormuz faster. They both, even after the bombardment that we just did, the Iranians said pound sand. So Trump quietly removed those conditions from what has now become the final sort of draft of this MOU, this memorandum of understanding. The Iranians have they're sitting in the driver's seat. They have all the leverage here, and they are dictating terms. And the Americans, President Trump, is desperate because he's fully well aware we're hitting tank bottom of our strategic petroleum reserves beginning as early as June 22nd. He is fully well aware if he doesn't get energy flowing again immediately through the Strait of Hormuz, there's no amount of BS that he can give the markets to prevent the spikes in prices that will come immediately thereafter. So he's got to get this going again. He needs an MOU at least for the next 60 days. The Israelis don't want to give it to him, but there's a lot of BS because he knows if it gets out what he's given them or what he will give the Iranians, it's going to be the end of him. It'll be the end of the Republican Party. It is a conditional surrender document that he is signing on to.
Over the past 24 hours, there's all these memes floating around on the internet. MAGA waking up realizing they spent 60 or $80 billion bombing Iran only only then to give them $300 billion to completely rebuild their country. Yeah. So you have, of course, MAGA's furious about this. You have a lot of neocons, including Lindsey Graham, who's upset about it. President Trump just a few minutes ago responded to that, saying, "Oh, Lindsey's upset about this. He's going to be in big trouble. I got to have a talk with him." Oh yeah, and, yeah, he's really going to have a talk with him. And then also you have people like John Bolton, warmonger, Yosemite Sam John Bolton, who just
bombs away Bolton.
Yeah, he just said this. Listen to Bolton. Listen.
I think it's a very bad deal for the United States. Trump isn't thinking about the geostrategic implications of the deal. He's thinking of one thing. He wants the Strait open. He wants Gulf oil on international markets. He wants the price of gasoline at the pump down. That's all he cares about. I think it's a mistake to give this brutal theocracy any of the assets. I'm happy to give the assets back to Iran when it's under a free government. That's not where we are now. The change of leadership is only because...
Yeah. What do you make of bombs away Bolton? I like that.
Well, bombs away Bolton. The walrus is another one. If I can speak today, he's not right. He's not wrong about the first part, though. I mean, Trump doesn't care about the geopolitics of this. He doesn't really look at this as a conditional surrender document. He looks at this as he's on the short end of a very serious business deal, and he doesn't have a choice. He's got to sign it now because otherwise, the really heavy stuff is going to hit like in the next week and a half to 2 weeks, and then he's hosed politically because he knows full well it's going to be an uphill battle to win the midterms at this point. But if he doesn't get that strait reopened immediately, he's effed in the midterms, and then it gets really bad for him and his family because I can tell you right now, Norm Eisen and the Democrats, they've got the subpoenas on standby. As soon as they get majorities, half of those subpoenas are going forward. The Congress under the Democrats are going to gut this administration. The other half are going to go forward if and when they take the White House in 2028, and they're never going to leave Trump alone. So Trump's aware of this. So he's got to delay that as much as possible, and that means not worrying about the geopolitics of this. That means he's got to get this deal done. But here's another quick thing. The Iranians under the deal have up to 30 of those 60 days to fully reopen the strait. I will put money down on the fact that there's nowhere they're going to fully reopen the Strait of Hormuz until closer to that 30-day mark. Furthermore, the ships that have moved through the Strait of Hormuz, they're using the TSS, they're using the traffic separation scheme that the Iranian government created. So what this represents, guys, is the movement from de facto Iranian control over the strait to de jure Iranian control over the strait. So 60 days, they're going to let supposedly these ships pass free of charge. These ships are having to use the TSS, though, from Iran, which means day 61 of this agreement being over, day one after the agreement ends, Iran's taking that and they're getting tolls. You mark my words.
Oh. Okay.
Exactly. So, hey, there you have it, man. So, hey, this war ain't going to stop, man. All right, the Israelis going to go along. As we read the prophecy, they can throw a wrench in it. It's going to be on. So, hey, things going to get worse. And, hey, just sit back, man, enjoy the ride, because this shit about to get crazy. But, hey, stay prayed up in the name of Yahweh Shalom. Shalom.